Dog. Dog. He's like, yes, I am fluffy. I am cute. What can I help you with, mommy? And now he's going to lick his leg. Okay. As you can tell with the thumbnail and the title and the fact that I have princess shirts up behind me again, this is going to be another one of the Kingdom Hearts videos as well. This one is going to be about the Princesses of Light. So this is like the second generation of the Princesses of Heart. These are the new Princesses of Heart. Now, as I went over in the first video about the Princesses of Heart, the Princesses of Heart are maidens of pure, just kind of goodness and, you know, purity, that type of a thing. And they have the ability to access certain powers. In the cases of, obviously, as you can guess behind me, Elsa and Rapunzel, obviously they also have other powers as well that they are able to access. Outside of just like their Princesses of Heart power, with Rapunzel's healing power, and of course, Elsa and her ice powers. And kind of to a degree, I guess, none of the other first original Princesses of Heart really had that. But didn't really have like an extra power, but you know, but so the princesses, the second generation of the Princesses of Heart, are revealed in Kingdom Hearts 3. They're of course being, you know, tracked and hunted down by, you know, Organization 13, of course being controlled by Xehanort and everything, and it's just like the Princesses of Heart, you know, their powers are kind of like they've inherited them kind of from like the first generation of the Princesses of Heart. So like Snow White and Cinderella and Aurora and Belle and Jasmine and such, it inherited from them. Going through the list that we see, because as we go through the Kingdom Hearts 3 game, which I love the graphics in the game, they do an amazing job with it. In the Kingdom Hearts 3, which is the main source that we have going on for this, unless we get more Princesses of Heart in Kingdom Hearts 4, which is a possibility, which will be possible Princesses of Hearts I will go over in my next video, the next video for this. But what we see, of course, is the first area that we land in is, of course, the Kingdom of Corona, which is, of course, for Tangled, and, of course, we meet Rapunzel. We also meet Flynn and Pascal and Maximus. And I love how, because a lot of the stuff that they've done for, like, the previous ones is, of course, like, they tie in different things from the movies into the games. Like, they'll have certain scenes, like, you know, for the aerial sections in, you know, the first Kingdom Hearts games, like, you have to help, there's, like, song games, or it's, like, you know, one of them's Under the Sea, one of them's Part of Your World, for, like, singing along with that, and then there's, like, I think another one that you have to do, when you're fighting against Ursula, which is just weird in general, but okay. But, like, you know, so they have, like, different aspects become a part of it, like, in the Aladdin area, it's, you know, Agrabah is an area you run around in, and then, of course, you run around in the Cave of Wonders is another area where you run around in. And, like, for, like, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, like, they have, like, I believe they, like, reanimate, like, computer animate the moments where, like, you know, where Snow White is, like, kissed by Prince Charming, and where where Aurora is kissed by Prince Philip and everything, you know. I think there's also, like, for the Cinderella one, I think they also, like, reanimated, or, like, animated part of the dance. I don't remember if they reanimate, like, the Cinderella getting her dress sequence, but I do think that they have something where you do watch her dancing with the prince. So we do have, like, those moments that have been, like, recreated in the games. And in Rapunzel in the Tangled world in Kingdom of Corona, they recreate, and it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and it's one of my favorite Disney love songs. They do recreate, you know, at last I see the light sequence, you know, I see the light sequence where it's, you know, them on the water and everything. And I love how they reanimated that sequence. It's beautiful. And, you know, you run around with, like, Rapunzel and Flynn, and, like, Rapunzel's hair is, of course, part of the game as well. Like, she has, you know, putting her in her party helps with certain things, like, helps with, like, swinging around in the area. And of course, you just kind of watch through the tangled story. You watch as, her and Flynn end up in Corona, and like you watch them dance, and then like you go and help try to rescue Rapunzel, and help Flynn get back to Rapunzel after he's escaped, after the guard, after he's like broken out of prison by the thugs and everything, by the bandits and such. And like you watch as him and Rapunzel, as he cuts her hair and frees her from you know Gothel, Mother Gothel. And so we see that, and it's just beautifully animated. And of course, Rapunzel is, one of the new princesses of Heart. And as you're running through the different kingdoms, you do end up coming across some different Organization 13 members. And like they mentioned something about like, oh, so these ones are, we're trying to find the new princesses of Heart, the princesses of light. And like, Rapunzel is one of them. And then when we go into Arendelle, we of course meet Elsa and Anna from Frozen. And even though Elsa and Anna are not technically Disney princesses, in the whole fact of like they are part of the Disney princess lineup, they might as well be, but they're not. And what happens is, of course, like they reanimated the Let It Go sequence for Elsa, and you rewatch that because like you have like Sora, Donald, and Goofy kind of like they interact with her first, and then like as she's going up the mountain, they interact with her, and then like they kind of witness from a distance her like making the ice castle and everything, and then like you have to fight Marshmallow at some point, which is kind of fun, and then like Marshmallow ends up being helpful in your party, and then of course you end up coming across Anna and Kristoff and Sven and Olaf, and you like help them try to get to Elsa. And kind of what they did, of course, with the games is, of course, they kind of, did a retelling a little bit of the movie with, like, Sora, Donald, and Goofy thrown in there, and, like, with the Heartless around, because, like, the Heartless kind of act as, like, obstacles that you have to get around, as is they were in the original games as well. They're the main things that you have to fight. And of course, you have to deal with the Organization 13 and everything. And of course, you see Elsa with her ice powers and everything. And of course, you help save Arendelle from Hans and his treachery and everything. So it's, that's basically the gist of what happens in the games. It's like if you've seen the movie, you can kind of, if you've seen the movies for Frozen, you can kind of deduce what happens in the games. I wouldn't be surprised if in Kingdom Hearts 4, if depending on how they set up the world, because we haven't really seen that much of what's going to happen in Kingdom Hearts 4. We know that they're still going to, like, Sora's still going to be there, and there's going to be like this new female character, but we don't really know too much else about what's going on in the world. It looks like he's like somehow in like the modern world. So we'll see what happens with that. But there is the possibility that, maybe they'll go back to Arendelle or something like that. And, like, we'll get to see, like, maybe we'll help with like what happens in like Frozen 2, like help with a version of that, or maybe like a post Frozen 2 world or something like that. Probably not, but we'll see what happens there. Because like just because it happens in the Kingdom Hearts game does not mean that it is like Disney canon. It just means that like it's it's like this separate thing, but they are endorsed by Disney. Which I've stated before, I would love it if they did a Kingdom Hearts animated series. And I think I heard something a while ago about there being like talks of a Kingdom Hearts animated series. I could be wrong, but I personally would love to watch that. Would love to just watch them like, reanimate a bunch of this stuff. And like see more of the storyline play out a little bit more. That would be fun. Get to see like the princesses interact with each other. As I stated, I loved House of Mouse. That falls right into the House of Mouse territory. That would be great. And of course, the other Princess of Heart, Princess of Light, that we see, of course, is Kairi. And she is the only remaining one from the original Princesses of Heart. And she is also a Keyblade wielder. Throughout the course of Kingdom Hearts 3, kind of near the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 and then through some of like the little side games in between and then into Kingdom Hearts 3, Kairi is learning how to be a Keyblade wielder. She's training and everything, and we see a little bit more of her backstory at some points in time in some of the other games, but she is the only one that is still a Princess of Heart. Now, I'm going to have a separate video where I go over possible Princesses of Heart, the future ones that might come into play given current Disney things that Disney has to work with. We'll see what happens with there, and that'll be my other video. But you know, I just like the idea of like seeing a bunch of the princesses together. I'm sorry, I loved Ralph Breaks the Internet when like we see all of the princesses and Vanellope together. I love that. I did a whole video about it. You know, I just love that stuff where they have like they're breaking the fourth wall and admitting that this is different created content, and like they're all interacting with each other, and I just love that. And I just, that's just something that I love. I love it when Disney does that. I love it when different shows do that, where they like kind of break the fourth wall, like, you know, Simpsons crossing over with like Futurama or with like Family Guy or different things like that. I mean, I'm not the biggest Family Guy person, but like, you know, that concept of the crossovers and everything. You know, where they break the fourth wall at times, and or blatantly break the fourth wall, but it's fine because it's like in the context of the story, you're perfectly fine with it. Like Deadpool. Oh God. Okay. Weird tangent. I know they would not do this. I highly doubt Disney would be okay with this. But I mean, like, so yeah, Disney purchased 20th Century Fox. Okay, we know this. And Disney for Marvel, now Marvel has access to, like, you know, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and everything. Like, they kind of had access to Spider-Man because, like, they worked with Sony and everything because of, you know, Tom Holland and everything. And Deadpool, I believe, is part of the 20th Century Fox purchasing because he's, you know, X-Men related, because, like, he's part of the X-Men franchise, technically. I know they wouldn't do this, but it would be hilarious if like Deadpool ended up in Kingdom Hearts and knows perfectly well that it's a video game and knows perfectly well about what everything is. The problem is that I don't think Deadpool would interact very well with the princesses. I don't think he would. I don't think I'd want Deadpool near the Disney princesses unless he has like a bunch of handlers around him. You know, just that type of a thing. I don't think that would be a wise decision, but that's just, I mean, it's a funny idea. It's a very funny idea. I know it wouldn't happen. I know Disney would not do that because that's just like, no, we're going to keep him away from the princesses. Marvel, mixing him with Marvel is one thing, but we're not going to put him with the Disney princesses, or like Pixar or anything like that. Although Disney already kind of had a little bit of a Deadpool-esque type character in the case that, in regards to, and I probably said this at some point when I was doing the Emperor's New Groove review, because Kuzco kind of acts like Deadpool in the fact that he's like breaking the fourth wall all the time in the story, and everything, so that's just kind of fun. But you know, I went off way track, and now I'm going to come back to the princesses, for the Princesses of Heart. Throughout the course of the game of Kingdom Hearts 3, of course, as you're interacting with the different Princesses of Heart, you of course, you help save them and everything from Organization 13. There's not too much else that happens there. I think that they do pop up somewhere referenced in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which is kind of like the sequel side game to the game, to the Kingdom Hearts 3, which I have not played yet. I will at some point, but I've had, between work and videos and everything, I have not had time to be able to play that, but at some point I will. That the Princesses of Light are kind of referenced in that, and that like the Keyblade wielders are kind of also referenced as guardians of the light, after the second Keyblade War. So there's a lot of stuff that gets mixed in with that, in regards to like, goes into like the Kingdom Hearts lore, and I would like to see more of that in the games, explored in the games, which I know that a lot of the side games have done that. Because of the, Kingdom Hearts and then 2 and 3 are all just like Sora's story, and then like there's all the side games that explain a lot more of, this is what happened with Terra Ventus and, Ventus, Terra, and Aqua, and this is like what happened here with Riku and like with Mickey and like all that other stuff. So like we do kind of see that, you know, in the side games more, and like the backstory of a lot of the games. But you know, more of that would be nice, because I'm the person that loves lore and world building and history and everything like that. I love that. Yeah, so that's what I have for this one. Not as long, but the potential princesses ones is probably going to be a little bit longer. So that's what I have for this, for the second generation of the Princesses of Heart, for the ones that we know, so the canonical ones. And then my next video for this will be about the possible Princesses of Heart, possible future Princesses of Heart, something along those lines. So I thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you have a nice rest of your day. And it's summer, so I hope that you enjoy your summer. Bye. There's more to a heart than just anger and hate. It's full of all kinds of feelings. Don't you remember that?